Okay, so everyone, my name is Kai Jun. So for those who is tuning in for the first time, thanks for joining, and I hope the week has been great for you guys. Yep. So for those who joining for the first time, I'm actually a second year student doing econs and finance, and I've been doing investment for around 5 years or so as a FA fundamental analysis. I've actually decided to start on this whole project itself. To share a bit more about my passion as well as to learn from you guys. So starting on this project itself, and the reason behind it is because after realizing from what I shared with my friends, I realized that others could potentially benefit from it as well. So a little disclaimer aside is that I'm not a financial advisor, so the topic shared today as well as for subsequent one will only be for education purposes. So what I'm about to share today is something that isn't discussed often, something overlooked by many, yet I feel that is one of the most important foundation everyone should at least look into lah, or try to understand yourself personally. Okay, so before we begin on today's topic itself, is a little update on the current affairs is unemployment rate have risen, but lower comparatively to SARS and 2008 financial crisis lah. However, forecast isn't as optimistic stated from the MOM itself. Yeah. As business resume around the world, trade tensions between China and US continues lah. That's due to the trade war itself. As for Hong Kong itself, protest is continuing upon lockdown measurement being I would say easing lah, which is actually affecting the economy by itself. So among that many problems, their government concerns include the dampening of their economy as investor is pulling out funds from the market itself. So there's two phase to the coin by itself. I mean, like it will be beneficial for Singapore, knowing that Singapore is probably like the Swiss of Asia, and given that investors that they actually put out their funds from Hong Kong might actually reallocate their funds in Singapore lah. But if let's say if Singapore is not doing, I would say if Hong Kong is not doing well, Singapore will be doing well as well because they are our, I would say, one of our greatest net exporter at this point of time. Globally, signs of COVID is actually, the situation is actually improving. Measurements are actually in place already upon the potential lift of lockdown lah. And circuit breaker in Singapore is actually, I would say they are easing slowly. Measurements are in place lah, to prevent further escalation upon the lift of that ban. And lastly is for investors itself.
Good question. Can you do me a favor?
Sorry,
my lower back is very, very pain. Can you 帮我搓一下?
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, yeah. So lastly, for Berkshire itself which is run by Warren Buffett. In their recent meeting, they have announced that they have dropped all holdings within the airline business itself. So the four main companies is American, Delta, United, and Southwest Airline. So for those who are investing overseas, there's something that you can take note of. Another update on SIA, which is something that I think I cover a lot upon second to OCBC, but yeah. So firstly is there has been Virgin Airlines is currently 6.9 billion Australian dollars in debt lah, and SIA has no obligations to put in capital for this company despite owning 20% stake within the business itself. Second is SIA shareholder has actually agreed upon on the $15 billion fundraising, which I mentioned last week. And how does this $15 billion comes about? And to further understand, as an investor or someone that have invested within the company already. So issuing of new, the first thing is the issuing of new shares to current shareholders to raise $5.3 billion. The second one is to raise $9.7 billion through convertible bonds. So that total up to the 15 billion. And lastly is Temasek, who owns 55% of the airline pledge, to take up the remaining shares and bonds that is unsubscribed lah. And this also means that if let's say upon distributing to shareholders and no one is actually buying up the remaining, Temasek will actually step in and buy the remaining outstanding bonds and shares itself. So for those who is actually working in any newscaster or media, you all can potentially hire me as an intern. Okay, jokes aside, let's move on. Okay, for mindset itself, I think before we start on today's topic is I just want to share that don't believe a word what I'm about to say. Reason being is that what I'm about to share with you is what works for me lah, as well as what works for me in the past as well. As there is no one fit all problem solutions out there. I do hope instead with whatever I'm sharing today, one way or another is able, to help you find your own way, make your own path towards, your goal, be it financially or other aspects such as like your career, studies, or even your relationship, for a matter of fact. So I think the difference between an achiever and a dreamer is, aside from a fanciful word for it, it's actually simply the actions taken. There is, of course, infinitely different ways out there, to approach any particular situation. But with that many choices we have, given first world country problem, we tend to often, like procrastinate into someday, which never actually happens lah. What I'm about to share with you is, I think, 3 points that arguably change the direction and which motivates me to do what I'm actually doing currently lah. Be it for my studies, my career, this particular project itself, as well as for my own investment and stuff. So yeah, sure there is, ups and downs, criticism everywhere, people asking you why the fuck are you doing it, or like my language, but yeah, like why are you doing it, and like what's this all about and stuff like that. But if you don't at least give yourself a chance, at least give your dream one. So yeah, the first thing is I will be talking about will be your habits. I mean, something that is often overlooked and underappreciated. And why I say that is because with the right habits in place, it can actually takes you far beyond where I would say where we imagine. Speaking from experience, is my secondary school self, and those who know me since secondary school will never, ever imagine myself picking up a book and actually finishing it. Even my secondary school teacher is shocked when they saw me reading and like holding a book when I went back for alumni activities. Yeah. So how do I start and everything is like, well, you take things a step at a time, start with the first paragraph followed by the page, then subsequently I sort of like enjoy reading the book itself lah. And since then actually opened many doors for me. I'm not saying that you should read book, maybe you don't like reading, but you can listen to podcasts kind of thing. I don't know, watch the news, watch TV, watch video, or whatsoever, any means or way, to further, improve yourself as a whole. So in the financial aspect, I think the first thing you can look into is to actually physically track the spending, track your spending lah, which is simple, but yet 90%, which means that every 10 of you out there, only probably one of you guys are actually doing it. So how are you supposed to, invest if you can't save, and if you like if you have no savings as well, then like how are you supposed to, get to where you want to go? So habit takes time to be formed, few weeks to few months. Everybody, different individual varies. So yeah, set a realistic goal, set a realistic one, like one of my friend, Rebecca, what she does is for every $5 she receives in her purse or wallet, she set it aside, and like at the end of the month, you can see actually how much money you are able to save. That's one way or another you can do, work towards to lah. As things get easier, like leveling up in the game, you can start to use Excel or like various platforms to track individual, like every single cent, where is it going? Like, are you paying for your bills, or are you paying for your meals? Like, you paying for, I don't know, your phone bills or transportation whatsoever. Yeah. But as for now, maybe for a starter, what you can do is at the end of the day, just track how much you spend, like how much is out from your wallet. So start with, a new positive routine. Doesn't have to be financially related at this point of time. So, you can even start by fixing your own bed first, and setting a fixed time, like to sleep and to wake up. That way you will have your day more structured and organized. So a small deed actually accomplished, that will motivate you a little here to do the next and the next and the next, which is similar to a compounding effect lah. So secondly would be, I think, your time itself. I'm not referring to timing the market, but like how everyone has the same 24 hours. Even the president has 24 hours. Warren Buffett has 24 hours. Elon Musk has 24 hours. Everyone has 24 hours. So unless you're from Mars, then you probably have 30 minutes more compared to your friends lah, which is unlikely the case lah. So yeah, treasure your time. everyone say, time is money and stuff. And if that's the case, then why is no one managing it? So everyone likes to mow land, and the only one I know is in Belgium. So unless you're referring to that, I think the decision to revise on it has to be dealt with lah. So I think referencing from Jordan B. Peterson is, you need to ask yourself like how many hours you waste a day. And the classic response is normally around 5 hours lah, which is equals to 25 hours a week, 100 hours a month, followed by 2.5 hours works week, which is actually equivalent to half of the time you spend working a year lah. Pardon all the math and stuff lah. So yeah, additionally, I think we know how we are like as an individual. We rarely do what we are told. It's like we are a bad employee and a worst boss by itself. We don't know what we want to do, and when we already know what we want to do, we won't go and do it. We don't follow through. And actually, we should just fire ourselves. So, frankly speaking, like you have to really understand yourself as an individual. So to speak, that you should actually not look at yourself like your own servant. So and you should actually negotiate with yourself. Treat yourself like someone that you want to work with, to improve your life and everything. So for example, doing 1 hour of work and spending the remaining 15 minutes maybe on a social platform or whichever or whatever that interests you lah. So it's okay to be 50% efficient for now, as long as it's better than the you in the morning, and strive to be 51% more efficient next week also. So yeah, the third point would be, I think, treat yourself like how you would treat a person that you really love. Be realistic with yourself, set a goal as it's actually a responsibility by itself, and to achieve it, we have to really differentiate the needs and the wants out there lah. Avoiding instant gratification along the way. It's not as simple, but it will definitely be worth it lah. As mentioned, like negotiate with yourself. Really sit down and ask yourself that question, like honestly, like what can you do? Like given your current circumstances, your job, your career, your like your responsibilities, do you have to pay for school fees? What kind of bills are you paying at home? Stuff like that. So you only have one vehicle, and secondly is I think you only have one vehicle to carry you through the journey of life lah, which is your own body itself. So that itself you need to take care of it aside from your wealth. So slowly taking care of this personally, everything start falling into place like jigsaw puzzle. So like what Steve Jobs has mentioned, that is that we can't connect the dots looking forward lah, and you can only connect them looking backward. So you have to really trust that the dots somehow or rather will connect in the future lah, and every single actions taken has their own effect, own consequences lah, be good or bad. Similarly to every cent that you save financially, it means more than just achieving that few dollars at the end of the month. It's more of like resulting to a new habit form, which can lead to achieving a greater heights lah, be whether in the life aspect or whatsoever. And it actually brings back to what I shared earlier, which is don't believe what I say. Fine tune your own way. Whatever is best for you. Everyone out there has their own plate of problems, and not everyone has the same kind of plate. So you might have a paper plate, some other guys might have a metal plate or whatsoever. So really have faith in yourself. Trust that things will work out. So like really as in think out of the box, like figure things that caters your current circumstances, then work along it as well. So I finished sharing my 3 points, and now I just touch a bit more on like what I do personally for my finance tracking itself. Is I use Excel. I'm not saying everyone should use Excel. There is multiple apps out there on your mobile phone that can actually help you do so. But this is just one of the way that you can potentially try to do lah. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys can see this. I'm not sure if the words are too small. Can anyone see the Excel sheet? Okay, yeah. Okay, so I will share with you what have happened for the month of January. The rest, I will just censor a little because I'm shy to share. But yeah, so basically what I have at the top box is the summary of like what has went on for the particular month itself. Like my savings itself, the deposit for my investment, the invested sum, my portfolio valuation. So at the end of the day, at the end of the month, what is it worth? then this shows that I actually lost money in terms of, because of the virus situation. So the box here actually shows my daily spending as well as record as to the sense of where my money is going, be it to food, allowance or whatever, transport, haircut, this kind of thing. So I record it down at the end of the month, then I'll find the average itself. So this way I'm able to track and try to adjust so that every month I can spend lesser one way or another. Yeah. Okay. So this box itself reflects my investment by itself, like my portfolio generally. So I'm not going to censor these. Like those who are interested, these are the 4 companies that I invested into: OCBC, Escort, Sager, and Parkway Life REITs. And I'll talk more about this in the subsequent weeks, like why I choose to invest into this particular company itself. As well as the fees. Then this itself show you the portfolio management. I think as most of y'all can see, since I'm young, so therefore I would say I'm heavily invested into equities instead of bonds and funds. Therefore reflect the 92%. And out of this 92%, these are the weightage of the respective company by itself. And this is how I track my own finance. Yeah. So for the bottom graph itself, it's just my monthly spending. We haven't got to the end of the year yet. So as for from January all the way to May, this is the current spending. I mean, definitely it will be a downtrend because of circuit breaker. Thanks to it, I save a lot of money, cost a lot of home cooked food. Yeah. So this is particularly my investment. The blue line reflects the invested amount that I put into. The orange line reflects my portfolio worth. So the value of my portfolio itself. Then this shows my general net worth lah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So back. I think I have finished sharing my session. This session will be slightly shorter. So regards to the upcoming session, I've actually decided to split into a 2-part series, and Ching will be sharing earlier at 9:30 p.m. instead of the usual 10 p.m. lah. So topics of the month I will begin at 9:30. Then for the second half, like around 10 p.m., I will start to talk a bit more about the financial statement on how to read them. So which is the income statement, the balance sheet, as well as the cash flow. So these 3 will be done for the last 3 weeks of the month. Yeah, and I will update on my Instagram accordingly. So for those who are here through their own friends, y'all can choose to follow me. Yeah. Yeah. If not, other than that, I'm actually done. Thanks for coming. And thanks for tuning in. So if y'all have any question whatsoever, don't have to be can be financial related or not. You can just shoot. Then we can talk about it as well. Then everyone can discuss it along the way. Any questions so far?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, today's a pretty short sharing. If y'all need the Excel template, I can make one. Then I can give it to you guys. Okay, the reason why today's sharing is short is because comparatively to last month is more of like the introductory of finance as a whole, like what encompass finance, like a very brief surface sharing. But as the subsequent weeks goes, starting from today, I want to make things a little bit more in-depth in various aspects. So for example, I think it's best if you can get the mindset right first before we actually start investing into the respective instruments and to start our own savings, our own investment plans. Yeah.
Hello, Kai Jun. Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
Oh wait. All right. Maybe can I add on to something that you mentioned just now?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, so I think for whatever that Kai Jun shared today, other than some fundamentals, he also talked a lot about like the mindset. Like you can see under Q&A, he has a list of book and authors. Some of the concepts that he talked about were from these authors. Part of the reason why all of this mindset is important and why he said that it's applicable to lots of areas, you can think of it as fluff, you can think of it as not, doesn't matter. The thing is that for some of you, if you are new to this, right, what do you think would be necessary, in terms of cultivating a kind of character, some kind of consistency? Like you see the Excel spreadsheet, if you were to take his Excel spreadsheet and you put it to yourself, how many of you will actually update it on a daily basis to track all your expenditure? Because it can be very tedious. So the thing about all of this kind of thing is that take it one step at a time, right? It might be new for some of you to implement a lot of these things. I mean, personally, I don't implement any of these things because this is not my key focus right now. But for those of you who are interested, don't burn yourself out. Take one step at a time. Like there are many ways to do this. You know, you doesn't have to be Excel spreadsheet. Like for example, personally for me, if I wanted when I was trying to lose weight, I use sticky papers where I stick it on my wall every day. So if you're trying to trace like how much you're spending each day, you don't have to trace the whole day first if you're not used to it. You can start with something small like, okay, maybe I see how much I spend for breakfast first. After 1 week, then maybe you try lunch, right? So you slowly add to it. The key is that you want to build this kind of loop where you don't have to spend so much mental energy trying to go and do anything related to maybe logging down your finances or adding things to your spreadsheet. You want to slowly introduce it and climatize it so that it becomes part of your natural life. Okay, then once you are used to it, then you can see, oh, okay, I'm spending a certain amount of money. Then now I'm familiar with my finances. If I were to start investing the money, can I look at my money and be more impartial about it? Because like right now, if you are in this kind of economy and you see oil prices dropping and you actually previously bought oil, you'll be like, holy shit, what do I do? Right, Warren Buffett recently just sold all of his stocks for airline. Am I right? Yeah. So the thing is that,
Yeah, correct.
like in a situation like this, how do you stay calm? It's something that you develop the mental discipline over an extended period of time, right? So I guess what I'm trying to impress upon everyone is these concepts. If you can read the books about it, try to find small ways to implement it into your life if you are really interested. Okay. Then after that, take it a step at a time. Ultimately, you have to own it and make sure it's your own. It doesn't have to just be for finance. It can be anything like developing a new habit, reading a book, learning how to cook. Right. It can even be like cutting a bad habit. So that's just what I wanted to add to what he just mentioned.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, yeah. So, any other questions? If not, I can do. I'll be sharing about another things in a bit. Got question? No question? Okay, then if no question, then I will do my own sharing before we end this off for the evening itself. Is yeah, okay. So like what my friend Arthur has actually mentioned is these are the books that I have reference from. These are the websites and sites that you can look into when you want to start investing. I think Investopedia is one of the very good sites that you can look into. Yeah. So aside from this, I think just to share a little bit more, like this is like currently how my day is being run lah. Like this is one of the way I organize and structure my sort of my timetable and whatsoever. Yeah. So if that's aside, and if y'all got no questions, then I will conclude this session. I'll update the remaining session details accordingly on my Instagram. So yeah. Yes, sir. If not, thank you for joining. I'll see you guys next week.